Welcome back to another Pewaukee YouTube channel video. Today's video we're going to be going over the Modern Shopper project in Python. So we're going to look at the changes I made, how those changes help to make a functional program, and everything in between. So enjoy the content, make sure to like, subscribe if you're new, and comment your favorite thing about the video. Okay, let's get into it. So let's run this program. So basically the idea, if you're new, the idea is that we are trying to shop for something. So let's say we want to buy a new computer. So basically what I'm doing is I am saying, oh, welcome to Modern Shopper. What would you like to shop for? So I'm going to enter in computer. And through a open source project called Selenium, we can see in this browser what's going to happen. So let's hit enter and go to that browser. So it opens up Amazon.com. It's going to put computer here in the search box. That's going to search. Then it's going to retrieve these items. It's going to print them here. So these are the top 10 kind of suggestions when we search on Amazon for a computer. And then we can see here in file2.txt, we have HP 17 laptop computer, Packard Bell 50-inch laptop, 2022 HP Pavilion, and various other computers listed there with their links. And so if we were to say HP 17 laptop, excuse me, if we were to open that up, we'd see a HP 17 laptop. Exactly what we want. So now let's go back and let's start to analyze. Or if we entered another object, let's say we wanted to, or another item we wanted to shop for. Let's say we wanted to shop for a coding poster. So it's going to go here. It's going to go back to Amazon.com, search for a coding poster, and it's going to try and get those items, print them here. Items added to session file. So you can take a look at the session file down here. Coding poster. We can say, let's do minimalist design posters for a technological environment. And here we are. Those are some nice looking posters, if I do say so myself. But, that's the general idea of the program, is to go and search it like that. So let's take a look at main.py. Let's start here. And basically one of the main things that you may have been able to see right there, if you've been watching the previous episodes, is that I'm not using a GUI I'm not using a graphical user interface anymore. I'm just running things from the terminal. And the reason for that is because I had done other projects before this that were mainly GUI focused because there were games. And I thought for this project, there's no reason to make a whole other GUI element or a whole new GUI kind of process, because mainly the idea I'm trying to improve at, or the thing I'm trying to improve at, is using the Selenium browser automation application. So let's get into it. So first line import statement, we are importing all the functions from this class here called driver. And we're going to call def main and main. And we're going to say welcome. We're just going to print a welcome string, welcome to Modern Shopper. Then we want to keep a exit string as exit. So let's just test it one more time. So we're just going to say, what would you like to shop for? Let's say we want a keyboard this time. Search for a keyboard, fetching the data. Let's wait patiently while the data is fetched. There we go. And if we say exit, oh, driver has no attributes, close. I thought it does. That's strange, because I kind of know it does, I thought. Actually, I need to say maybe self driver, probably something like this, I think. Let me try and work this. So let me say we want to search for a keyboard, shop for a keyboard, and then we're going to wait for the data to come in, and then we're going to hit exit. We're going to type exit, and there we go. I think it exits successfully. Fantastic. So we'll go over that later. So we just want to use a while true loop, and we want to say while the user input is not equal to the exit string, which is exit, we want to fetch the data of the user input. So we're going to say driver.setLink to Amazon.com. That's the main page that we want to search from. We want to search for with the argument of user input, and then driver.getItems with user input. And then we're just going to say print items added to session file, because that will happen here. So when we say get items, it's actually going to print the items. It's going to print these items here, and it's going to add them to the corresponding file. Actually, just get rid of all these files. And okay. So now let's go to function. And let's take a look at this. So we can get rid of time here. Okay, so we're saying from Selenium, import the WebDriver. We're accessing and searching Amazon's database of items. We're going to import by. We're going to import some error cases or exceptions. Technically don't need invalid selector exceptions, so I'm just going to use these two. Timeout exception and no such element exception. We're going to say from, we want to use WebDriver wait to use implicit waits, because that'll be important as we'll see later. Then we're going to use expected conditions as EC. Then we're going to use options, which doesn't get used actually, so we can just get rid of it. So let's take a look at class driver. So we have init function, options equals WebDriver, Chrome options, options. But these two lines, they get rid of some logging. So if we get rid of these, then we run this again. Wait, what did I do? Oh, oops. Now if we run again, so it just gets rid of all this DevTools listening, all these error kind of logging statements that we don't want, because what would you like to shop for? Not really a logging statement, so that's kind of sounds silly, right? So that's what it helps to get these logging things out of here, because we want to add experimental option where the enable logging is kind of turned off, and then we want to make a WebDriver using the Chrome search engine with the options as options. And then the self.session ID, we'll see how that gets used later. Basically, it gets used to make files. So we have file 0.txt, file 1.txt, and we'll keep going 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so that when we run the next iteration, we can see, we can take a look at what happens. We can say T, we want to search for some T. After the data is fetched, you're going to see up here in the top left corner, going to be put into a file 2.txt. So that 2 is a session ID, right? The number. So we can see all these T items are put here. So I'm just going to get rid of this actually. And then I'll go back here. So set link basically just passes in a link as a string. So that's always going to be called with Amazon.com. And then it gets that link and it maximizes the window. So we can see that the window is maximized when it's searching for T, right? Which is what we want ultimately. So let's get rid of this. And then we have search. So search, I don't really have good comments here. It's not that great. So, but basically this comment's good. Put an implicit wait for 3 seconds to find the text box. So for example, let's open up to find a text box. So it's going to find this text box up here, and then it's going to find this clicking button. So we're using a try except for the other variation of the website. So sometimes I would notice when I put Amazon.com, I would sometimes get a different website. It's a bit hard to, I'm trying to just see if I can actually get that website. I don't know if I can. Okay, you're just gonna have to trust me here. So that sometimes what happened was that there would be a different variation of the website that would sometimes pop up, which kind of had different keys. So we can see here that let's take a look at the try except in the start. So we are going to say so this is for the text box. So there are two variations for the text box, and basically what I can do actually is I can say what I can say is we define an Amazon text box and we say WebDriver waits. This is an implicit wait with our self-driver, or with our driver, our WebDriver, which is defined here, of 3 seconds until, so this is expected condition, so until we see the element located by ID. So if we take a look at, let's open up a Chrome tab, look at Amazon.com, and then we take a look at, if we take a look at this text box here, we can see that the ID is 2-tab search box. We could search text box. So this is basically how we're finding a lot of our elements. So we have 2-tab search text box. Otherwise, in the other version of the website, it was navbb search. And here we try and find the button and click it after it's been inserted. So we can again just bring this search button.click down here as we did in the text box. So basically, either this is going to happen or it's going to throw an error and then this should happen. Otherwise, there's some obscure error that I have no idea about. That would be bad. So we don't want that to happen. So I guess I could put a nested try except here, but ideally the website's not going to change, at least for this project. We're going to assume that it never changes, which is probably a bad assumption to make. Definitely a bad assumption, but we're going to roll with that. So we are going to find the search button. So we do by ID in the first instance, nav search submit button. In the second instance, we use class name, nav bb button is the name, and we search for the items, or search for the button, and then we click it. So check misspell. I don't know if that actually gets used. So let's go into one of these files. Check misspells was basically to say you entered water bottle and you searched for a water bottle. It was supposed to maybe say, actually, simpler if I explain it. Say I search water bottle. So did you mean would pop up like so. So I didn't want that would actually be detected as like the first item. So I didn't want that to happen. So I removed that element from the item. Technically this doesn't get used, I don't think. No, it does not. So we're actually just gonna delete it. Or we're just gonna move it to the additional code down here. Extra code for misspelling. An item to be shopped for. So we have that, and then we go to get items. So get items. So we can see the comments, get the 10 first items on the screen and print the text of these items using a loop. The class name, okay. All right, so now we'll go into search items. So basically it would search items. This command WebDriver wait for 3 seconds until all the elements are located. We are trying to get all these elements, so this water bottle, this one, and so on and so forth. All the way down the screen is what it'll do. So it'll get all these elements in 3 seconds, which is pretty quick. So we're going to use a CSS selector in this instance. So hashtag search basically finds it under the subcategory of search. So let's say, for example, we want to search for the first water bottle. This is just going to be example on like subcategories. So let's say we had this HTML here, and let's say we were searching in this kind of subcategory here. So the hashtag by the hashtag search gives like an ID that we search under. So what we can see is if we were to search ID equals search. Oh, there's 130 of them, so that's not great. I don't even know where this one is. Okay, but the idea is that this hashtag search means that you're searching under an ID kind of element. So if we were searching, say here, it would be that section spacing base, a section, a spacing base, and you would search under that. Although I don't think it's the same for a div, but I think it's the same for, or that's how you use it for an ID. And then here is the combination of class names that we need. So basically what this will do is it'll search for all of these class names in one name. So it's searching for, it's basically like an and statement. So this is and, so it's A-ling normal, and as underlined text, and so on and so forth. So this will get the kind of, it'll get two kind of objects. In a way, it'll get the link of the item. So for example, it'll get the link of this item, this Gatorade water bottle, and it'll get the text. So those are both of the things that we want. So then we're going to say items is a new list. And so for each of these items, there are two different types of formats. We could see here. So on Amazon, there's two different types of formats. So I was trying to say, so there's this kind of vertical format, and there's this kind of horizontal format, or kind of block format, where multiple things are on one row. And here, multiple things are on, or just one thing is on each row. And then it keeps going down and down and down, for example. So what we can see is that, or what we're going to see is that this first try except searches for the keyboard style. So this is the keyboard style where the items are vertically placed on top of each other. So we are finding element by CSS selector, and it's a class of a size medium. And then if the element text, this is a kind of check because sometimes the text would be nothing and it would be a little bit annoying, I guess. And if the text of the element is not empty, so if there is some text, then we want to input it to the list of items. And the same thing, but for the kind of Gatorade style, or the water bottle style, where these bottles are placed as multiple in a row. And we're going to do the same thing. So that CSS selector is a size base plus. And then we want to print all the items to the console. We can see here. So we are printing kind of I plus one. So we have 1, and then Allegro tea, and then we have 2, Lipton diet iced tea, and so on and so forth till 10 items. Then we just print a new line, and then self.add to file will go down here. So we will say, this is where we add the items to the file like this. So for all the 10 elements, we put in, we put in the water bottle, then we put in the link to the water bottle right after, put in the water bottle, link to the bottle after, water bottle, link to the bottle after, and then so on and so forth. And then we just add some dashed lines to kind of say that, okay, it's over now. So actually, I'm going to make that a little bit longer. It says dash lines seem a bit short. So where did I put those dash lines at? Exactly. So it's dash times 30. I'm going to say times 50. So we'll have 50 dashes here instead of 30. So we're going to use the items.text. to print the text, and then we're going to get the attribute of the href or hyperlink, and then we're going to put that in. And I mean, that's kind of it. So self find session ID is called once by the program here in main, and it just finds what the file name is going to be. And really that's it. It's that simple. So we're just going to use a while true loop, and so long as you can open the file for reading so long as you can open the file for reading with the self.session ID, then we're just going to say increment by 1, so it'll start at 0. It'll say, okay, we can open that, so there's no error. Then it'll go to 1, then 2, and it'll say, oh, we can't find the file, so we'll throw an error, and then we'll return with the new self.session ID updated to be used right here. So that's basically it for the program. I mean, it's overall quite short. Let's see. So this is 28 lines plus 87. That's only about 100 lines, a little bit more than 100 lines, 110 lines maybe, without all the comments. I still have a lot of comments to add, but otherwise that's it for the project. I hope you enjoyed the recap, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Make sure to comment what your favorite part was in the video, and perhaps what projects I should do next. I'm trying to work with maybe data analysis or maybe machine learning in the future and things like this. So I'm really excited to hear your guys' opinion. Thank you very much. Have a good day.